The last method for financial evaluation we use is the payback period. So definition, the payback period, we make it abbreviated with NP, the estimated time an alternative will take for the revenue benefits to recover the initial investment, so initial cost, and stated return. The payback period should never be used as the sole measure of growth to select an alternative. Why is that? When you listen and watch the problem 2, when we solve after this lesson video, here the coming lesson video, you will see in that problem why we should not use the payback period as the sole method to select alternative. To find out NP, just like the IRR method, to find out the internal rate of return, we set NPV I star equals 0, and the I star we can find out, and that I star exactly the internal rate of return IRR. For payback period, instead of set I star unknowns, the I in that NPV, net present value equation, is the minimum attractive rate of return of the problem. We only set the N unknowns, N star, and equals 0. And whatever the N star that you find out, that actually the payback period. And for years, we ignore the cash flow after the payback period. And actually, because we ignore that, that's why the payback period should not be used as the sole measure of growth to select alternative. And you will see that in problem 2 in the next lesson video. Let me show you what does that mean, the payback period. Basically the break-even time. So the time that all the money that we receive be able to return the initial cost on all other costs, and then the return that we want to expect, and that realized at the minimum attractive rate of return mark. Give you one local example here, that is the Midpoint Memorial Bridge, and I hope, of course, all of you already passed through that bridge from Fort Myers to Cape Coral. And they say that from the new press, Midpoint Memorial Bridge earned 15.8 million in annual total. So basically that the annual amount A in our class, right? And that you see that in Midpoint Bridge in there. So let's read here, the Midpoint Bridge celebrating 20th anniversary, and this is basically the press here in 2017, 3 years ago, and you can see there. And what they have, the annual total revenue, so they get the revenues, and that is from 7.8 million in 1997, and now 2016 about 15.8 million. So that's what they have. Okay, so with that, you can see here there is 115 million remaining principal to pay off, because that they got the money from the bond, etc., to build and get the toll and pay for that principal, and it's scheduled to be paid off in 2035. And the annual payments that they expect is from 16 to 18 million per year. So that consider the annual amount, and with that annual, the principal is 17. So if you draw the cash flow diagram, the initial at time 2017 at this article going down, and then until 2035, the annual amount at, let's see, 17 million average per year. So you can be able to, and with the interest that they pay, some percentage, you can be able to know whether it can be paid off 2035. So what does that mean? It means that 2035, which is about 18 years from the years that article going out 2017, so 18 years, that basically the payback period to return this money, 115 million, with our annual payment that we receive from the toll, and you can see here 16 to 18 million. And with the pandemic this year, maybe the traffic lower, the money it will be less in terms of collection of the toll. So the time to return it maybe extend 1 year or things like that, as you can see. But overall, that is the payback period in this case, as you can see there. So that we want to know when I'm going to pay off the money. That is required to understand the payback period. And in the next video, you will see problem 2, how to determine how long will it take for me to return the money on the initial costs and stated return that I want. And that is the payback period. And in that lesson, video 4, problem 2, I also go to explain you why payback period should never be used as the sole measure of growth to select alternative.